15 legendary tourist destinations that no longer exist. Number 1. The Pink and White Terraces, New Zealand before geothermal spots. Like Rotorua or the glowworm caves of Watomo drew crowds, the most famous natural marvel in New Zealand was the Pink and White Terraces. It's known as the eighth wonder of the natural world. These breathtaking silica deposits grace the edge of Lake Rotorua on the North Island. Formed over millennia by intense geothermal activity, superheated water from geysers poured down slopes, cooling and laying down layers of white silica in stair-like formations. The white terraces created icy, cascading shapes, while the pink terraces, tinted by minerals like iron oxide, shone with a rose-gold hue in sunlight. By the mid-1800s, they became the top destination in the country. Wealthy tourists and settlers from Europe came to soak in the warm, mineral-rich waters, believed to have healing powers. Mbori guides, especially notable women like Sophia Hinarangi, escorted visitors across the lake, shared local legends, and ensured their safety on the often risky trek. But on June 10, 1886, Mount Taravera erupted violently. The blast split the mountain, unleashing lava and rock that buried nearby villages and killed dozens. The eruption wiped out the pink and white terraces and transformed much of Lake Rotorua. For decades, it was assumed the terraces had been completely destroyed. However, recent sonar studies of the lake bed suggest that parts of them might still exist, hidden beneath layers of volcanic ash. Still, the original experienced the radiant pools, the steaming terraces, and their serene lakeside location has vanished forever. Today, visitors can explore the buried village of Tewaroa, preserved beneath volcanic ash like Pompeii. Yet the pink and white terraces remain one of the most stunning natural wonders lost to the power of the earth. Number 2. The original Crystal Palace, London in 1851. London hosted the Great Exhibition, a grand showcase of industrial advancements. To accommodate it, architect Joseph Paxton constructed the Crystal Palace, a groundbreaking glass and iron structure in Hyde Park. Its modular design, it's built from prefabricated materials, allowed quick assembly and dismantling. Stretching 1,850 feet and spanning more than 900,000 square feet, it left visitors in awe. After the event, the entire structure was disassembled and re-erected. In South London, in 1854, this new version was even more elaborate, surrounded by ornamental gardens, fountains, and cultural displays. Exhibits included life-size replicas of Egyptian tombs, Greek temples, and global artifacts. The palace became a symbol of Victorian innovation and pride. But the same features that made it iconic also made it vulnerable. In 1936, a fire erupted inside the building. Fueled by large amounts of wood in the floors and displays, and worsened by insufficient firefighting resources, the inferno quickly engulfed the palace. The flames were visible across London as the glass roof collapsed and the iron skeleton twisted under intense heat. Though there were efforts to rebuild, the Crystal Palace was never restored. Today, the area is a public park, with a few statues and dinosaur models remaining as reminders. The original structure, however, a feat of 19th-century engineering, is lost in just one devastating night, marking the end of an era in architectural innovation. Number 3. Kowloon Walled City, Hong Kong, once one of the most overcrowded places on Earth. The Kowloon Walled City in Hong Kong began as a Qing dynasty military outpost. But when Britain took control of the new territories in 1898, no clear governance was established, and the area developed into a lawless urban labyrinth. By the 1950s, squatters had turned the old fort into a towering, maze-like slum covering just 6.5 acres. With little to no government oversight, over 33,000 residents crammed into poorly built high-rises, stacked closely together, so dense that sunlight rarely reached the lower levels. Despite its chaotic appearance, the city functioned like a self-contained world. Residents built makeshift apartments, ran small businesses like dentist clinics, noodle shops, and barber stalls, all without licenses. Children played in narrow corridors nicknamed the Hallways of Darkness. By the 1980s, the walled city had reached global infamy, and the Hong Kong government, under pressure to modernize before the 1997 handover to China, opted for demolition. In 1993, the city was cleared and torn down. Today, a park sits in its place, complete with signs and outlines of the original walls. Yet, the Kowloon-walled city continues to fascinate people, worldwide a rare case of an autonomous urban ecosystem that defied regulation for decades before vanishing into history. Number 4. The Old Penn Station. New York City, New York's original Pennsylvania station. Opened in 1910 and designed by McKim, Mead, and White, was a grand gateway into the city. Spanning 8 acres, featured a majestic Beaux-Arts facade and a cavernous waiting hall with a 120-foot-high glass and steel roof, revivaling the great train terminals of Europe. The station wasn't just a transit hub. It was a symbol of civic pride and a testament to the Pennsylvania Railroad's influence. Grand columns, soaring arches, and sunlit concourses greeted millions of travelers. But as train travel declined in the mid-20th century, the station became financially unsustainable. In 1963, the original structure was demolished to make room for Madison Square Garden and a smaller underground terminal. The loss was met with public outrage. Though some pieces were saved and buried or relocated, the essence of the grand station was gone. This event became a pivotal moment in American preservation. It led to the formation of the New York City Landmarks Preservation Commission in 1965, which would go on to protect other significant sites like Grand Central Terminal. Today, Penn Station is functional, but lacks the architectural grandeur of its predecessor. For many, the demolition of the old Penn remains a painful reminder of what was lost and what needs to be preserved. Number 5. Sutro Baths. San Francisco, perched above the Pacific Ocean at Land's End in San Francisco. The Sutro Baths were once the world's largest indoor swimming complex. Opened in 1896 by former Mayor Adolphe Sutro, the structure was a bold example of late 19th century innovation. Built with steel, concrete, and a glass roof. It contained 6 saltwater pools and 1 freshwater pool, each set at different temperatures. Ocean water was pumped in at high tide through an elaborate system capable of circulating over 1.5 million gallons per hour. The massive building, nearly 500 feet long, housed diving boards, slides, trapezes, and even a museum featuring global artifacts collected by Sutro. With a capacity of over 10,000 people, the baths also boasted a concert hall and snack bars, becoming a favorite for working-class families seeking affordable recreation. However, upkeep costs were high. As newer attractions and suburban lifestyles took over after World War II, attendance sharply declined. In 1966, developers planned to replace the site with luxury apartments. But before demolition could begin, a massive fire broke out and burned the complex to the ground. The blaze, widely believed to be arson, left only concrete and steel ruins behind. Today, those remnants remain a haunting yet beautiful skeletal frame overlooking the ocean, now protected as part of the Golden Gate National Recreation Area. The site stands as a reminder of an era when public spaces were built for both scale and spectacle. Though the Sutro Baths no longer operate, their ruins hold a cherished place in San Francisco's cultural and architectural memory. Number 6. Berlin Wall's Death Strip. Germany, while not a traditional tourist site. The Berlin Wall became one of the most infamous and visited landmarks of Cold War Europe. Erected almost overnight on August 13, 1961, it physically and ideologically split East and West Berlin. Over time, it expanded into a reinforced concrete barrier stretching 96 miles, complete with watchtowers, floodlights, guard dogs, and trenches. On the East Berlin side was the feared Death Strip of Baron, a sand-covered zone with tripwires, landmines, and automatic firing mechanisms. Guards had orders to shoot anyone attempting to flee across it. Despite this, thousands of Western tourists came to observe the stark reality from viewing platforms in West Berlin, peering across to the heavily fortified zone. On the west side, the wall evolved into a canvas for artists and activists. Covered in graffiti, murals, and protest messages, it stood as a symbol of resistance and freedom. Meanwhile, the east side remained sterile and gray, reflecting the regime's control. Then came a seismic shift. On November 9, 1989, amid rising protests and international pressure, East Germany announced the opening of the border. That very night, Berliners flooded the wall, cheering, hugging, and tearing it down piece by piece. Within weeks, most of the wall and the Death Strip was gone. Today, Only fragments remain as memorials and museum pieces. Their place are parks, bike paths, and urban developments. The death strip has disappeared from Berlin's streets, but its history continues to echo through the city and around the world. Number 7. Original MGM Grand Las Vegas. When the original MGM Grand Hotel and Casino opened on December 5, 1973, it instantly became the largest hotel in the world. Spearheaded by Las Vegas mogul Kurt Corean, it cost over $100 million to build and redefined luxury on the Strip. With over 2,000 rooms, giant theaters, and a sprawling casino, it blended opulence with entertainment on an unmatched scale. The resort was themed after The Wizard of Oz, complete with emerald-colored walls and yellow brick road decor. Its theaters like the Ziegfeld Room hosted stars such as Diana Ross, Frank Sinatra, and Dean Martin. The MGM Grand set a new standard for resorts, leading the transformation of Las Vegas from Mobrun casinos to a corporate, family-friendly tourism empire. But tragedy struck on November 21, 1980. A fire ignited in one of the ground-floor restaurants. Because the hotel lacked sprinklers in key areas, including the casino and restaurants, the blaze spread rapidly. Smoke rose through elevator shafts and ventilation systems, suffocating guests on the upper floors. In total, 85 people lost their lives, making it the deadliest hotel fire in Nevada's history. Although the hotel was repaired and reopened just 8 months later, the disaster tainted its image. In 1986, Kurt Corean sold the property to Bally's Entertainment, and the hotel was rebranded Bally's Las Vegas. The MGM name moved to a new, even grander hotel that opened in 1993, with over 5,000 rooms. Today, the original MGM Grand exists only in memory. Its fall marked both a turning point in fire safety legislation and a reminder of how Las Vegas continuously reinvents itself, often at the expense of its past. Great. Here's the rewritten continuation for the next 3 locations. The trolley system of Los Angeles Lovelocks Bridge in Paris. In Disney's River Country Water Park, with the same meaning, structure, and length, using different wording, while preserving all key details. Number 8. The trolley system of Los Angeles, USA. There was a time when Los Angeles boasted the largest electric railway network in the world, known as the Pacific Electric Railway, or more commonly as the Red Car System. This vast trolley network crisscrossed Southern California with over 1,000 miles of track. From the early 1900s through the 1940s, these trolleys connected downtown LA to Pasadena, Long Beach, Santa Monica, and even San Bernardino. The red cars were the lifeblood of urban life for millions of residents. Created by real estate magnate Henry Huntington, the system wasn't just about transportation, it was a business model. Huntington extended rail lines to lands he owned, developed neighborhoods around the stops, and then sold the land at a profit. The trolleys weren't just practical, they were scenic, offering routes to beaches and mountain resorts. For a while, it seemed LA was on track to become a rail-centric city. It's much like Chicago or New York, but the system's success wouldn't last. By the 1950s, increasing car ownership, the construction of massive freeways and suburban expansion started eroding ridership. Car manufacturers and oil companies allegedly played a role in dismantling the red cars, favoring automobile dependency. By 1961, most lines were shut down, and LA's electric trolleys vanished. Today, only faint traces of the once massive system remain, like repurposed tracks or historic photos. The red cars are gone, but their loss continues to shape how LA struggles with traffic and public transit even today. Number 9. Lovelocks Bridge, Paris, France. For years, the Pont des Arts Bridge in Paris was home to one of the city's most romantic modern traditions. Tourists from around the world came here to attach padlocks called lovelocks to the bridge's metal railings. The locks were meant to symbolize everlasting love, with couples tossing the keys into the Seine River below. This spontaneous ritual began in the early 2000s and quickly caught on. Thousands of lovers, honeymooners, and even families joined in. Soon, nearly every inch of railing was covered in engraved or scribbled in locks. The bridge became a symbol of romance and an Instagram hotspot. But love, as it turns out, can be heavy literally. By 2014, officials realized that the enormous weight of the metal locks, estimated at over 45 tons, was damaging the bridge structure. Panels began to buckle and fall off. The city took emergency action. In 2015, the padlock sections were removed, and glass panels replaced the old railings to prevent future attachments. Conservationists supported the move, citing preservation of heritage. Many tourists were disappointed, though, feeling that a unique symbol of modern affection had been erased. Today, the bridge still spans the Seine, and visitors still stroll across it. But the era of the Lovelocks is over, relegated to memory and photo archives as one of Paris's most curious tourist phenomena that simply couldn't last. Number 10. Disney's River Country. Florida, USA River Country, opened in 1976, was Walt Disney World's first water park and a beloved destination during its prime. Located on the shores of Bay Lake near Fort Wilderness, the park offered a rustic, old swimming hole experience, using filtered lake water for its attractions. Its design mimicked a natural lagoon, complete with sandy-bottom pools, rock slides, and a lazy river. Guests loved the blend of wilderness-themed aesthetics and Disney's signature charm. In an era before mega water parks, River Country felt both adventurous and family-friendly. But over time, newer and larger water parks like Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach outshined it. Attendance declined, and with increasing safety regulations and changing water quality standards, River Country struggled to keep up. In 2001, the park closed for its regular off-season break, but it never reopened. By 2005, Disney confirmed it was permanently shut down. Speculation about why it closed ranged from stricter water filtration laws to business strategy, but no official reason was ever given. For years, the park was left abandoned, slides rusted, nature overtook pathways, and photos of the eerie remains circulated widely online. In 2018, Disney announced that the site would be redeveloped into a new resort called Reflections, a Disney lakeside lodge, but those plans were eventually canceled. Today, nothing remains of River Country. Its demolition was completed, and the area is now just part of Disney's vast undeveloped land. But for many fans, River Country holds a nostalgic charm as the first Disney water park now lost to time and change. Perfect. Here's the next. Number 11. Six Flags New Orleans. USA before Hurricane Katrina changed everything in 2005, Six Flags New Orleans was a vibrant theme park on the city's eastern edge. Originally opened in 2000 as Jazzlin, the park featured roller coasters, log flume, carnival games, and nods to Louisiana culture. Six Flags took over in 2002, rebranding and adding new attractions. It was a popular destination for families and thrill seekers, providing a dose of amusement in a city known more for jazz and cuisine than theme parks. The park even featured a Mardi Gras-themed section and water rides for cooling off in the humid summers. But then came disaster. When Hurricane Katrina struck in August 2005, it overwhelmed the levees and flooded large parts of New Orleans, including the park. Six Flags New Orleans sat under 7 feet of brackish water for weeks. By the time the floodwaters receded, the damage was beyond repair. The park's infrastructure, rides, and electronics were destroyed. Six Flags made plans to reopen, but the cost was too great. In 2009, they formally abandoned the property. Since then, the eerie remains of the park have stood like a ghost town. Rusted roller coasters, overgrown walkways, and sun-bleached signs have made it a magnet for photographers, YouTubers, and urban explorers. It even appeared in movies and TV shows as a post-apocalyptic set. Despite occasional redevelopment proposals, no real progress has been made. New Orleans remains one of the most visible symbols of the storm's long-lasting impact, a once-beloved amusement park now frozen in time. Today, only fragments remain preserved in museums, memorials, or as art installations. The Death Strip, once one of the most terrifying parts of Europe, has been replaced by parks, bike trails, and vibrant city life. Though no longer intact, its legacy remains a powerful symbol of resistance, division, and eventual reunification. Number 12. Tiger Balm Garden, Hong Kong, known for its vibrant statues and surreal imagery. Tiger Balm Garden in Hong Kong was once a beloved slightly bizarre landmark. Built in the 1930s by Ah Boon Ha, it's the wealthy Burmese-Chinese entrepreneur behind Tiger Balm Ointment. This garden was a unique fusion of Buddhist teachings, Chinese folklore, and moral instruction brought to life through hundreds of brightly colored, larger-than-life sculptures. Located in the Wan Chai district, the garden was originally meant to educate visitors about traditional Chinese values and philosophy. As guests wandered through winding paths, they encountered scenes from myths, legends, and morality tales, many depicting graphic punishments from the 10 courts of hell. These lifelike dioramas, some grotesque and others oddly charming, made the garden both fascinating and unsettling. For decades, Tiger Balm Garden served as a free public space for both locals and tourists. School children visited on field trips, couples came on dates, and families strolled through its outlandish displays. However, as Hong Kong's real estate market soared, the value of the land became impossible to ignore. In the 1990s, most of the garden was razed to make way for residential development. Despite outcry from preservationists and cultural groups, the site was cleared, leaving only a few original elements behind. Some sculptures were relocated to the Ha Par Mansion, which has since been preserved as a heritage site. Today, the original Tiger Balm Garden exists only in photographs and memories of vivid, eccentric chapter of Hong Kong's cultural history lost to urban expansion. Number 13. Eiger Glacier Railway Hotel. Switzerland, perched high in the Swiss Alps, the Eiger Glacier Railway Hotel once stood as a beacon of alpine elegance. Constructed in the 1890s during the golden age of mountain tourism, catered to adventurous travelers heading up the famed Jungfrau region. Located at the foot of the Eiger Glacier, the hotel was an integral part of the development of the Jungfrau Railway, which carried passengers up to Europe's highest train station at Jungfrau Jake. The hotel was no ordinary mountain lodge. With finely furnished rooms, panoramic windows, and first-class service, it was considered an engineering and hospitality marvel of its time. It offered visitors breathtaking views of the surrounding peaks and was a welcome stopover before venturing further into the snowy wilderness. But the hotel's glory was short-lived. Construction of the railway tunnel through the Eiger Mountain caused frequent disruptions, and the rise of more modern accommodations in nearby towns slowly eroded its clientele. After just a few decades in operation, the Eiger Glacier Railway Hotel was shuttered. Eventually, the building was dismantled, leaving almost no trace of its existence. Today, modern tourists ride the Jungfrau Railway past the very spot where the Grand Hotel once stood now, just a scenic stop at the Eiger Glacier Station. Though the hotel is gone, it remains a part of the lore surrounding Switzerland's early mountain tourism era, where reaching the clouds meant steam trains, rugged luxury, and a view you never forgot. Number 14. National Theatre, Caracas. Venezuela, once a cultural gem of Caracas. The National Theatre of Venezuela stood as a monument to art, history, and architectural beauty. Completed in the early 20th century, the theater was designed in a neoclassical style and served as a key venue for opera, ballet, drama, and concerts in the capital city. Adorned with ornate balconies, plush seating, and elegant frescoes. The building wasn't just a performance space, it was a civic treasure. It welcomed both Venezuelan and international artists, helping define Caracas as a hub for Latin American culture. But as political instability and economic crises worsened in Venezuela through the late 20th and early 21st centuries, the theater fell into disrepair. Funding dried up. Maintenance stopped, and eventually the building was deemed unsafe for public use. Performances ceased, and the once proud structure was left to decay. Despite calls for restoration, the building was never fully recovered. In the years that followed, its doors remained shut, its interiors faded, and its presence largely forgotten by a new generation, unfamiliar with its once pivotal role in Venezuelan cultural life. Though there have been sporadic discussions about revitalizing the National Theatre, it currently stands as a symbol of lost grandeur, a monument to the arts, slowly erased by time and neglect. Number 15. Coney Island, Luna Park. New York at the start of the 20th century. Coney Island reigned as the entertainment heart of America. Its brightest gem was Luna Park. Debuting in 1903, thanks to visionaries Frederick Thompson and Elmer Skip Dundee, it was far more than just another carnival. It was a dreamscape of imagination that laid the groundwork for amusement parks across the globe. Erected on the grounds of the former Sea Lion Park, Luna Park made an immediate impression with its cutting-edge design and technological innovation. When the sun set, the park transformed, More than 250,000 electric bulbs illuminated its towers. Domes and exotic spires, a breathtaking marvel at a time when most Americans still lived without electricity in their homes. The park's attractions weren't merely rides, they were theatrical productions. Guests could drift along imitation Venetian canals, witness fiery dramatizations like Mount Vesuvius erupting, and explore immersive experiences like a mock submarine voyage. A sprawling scenic railway snaked through artificial mountains and shadowy tunnels. One standout feature was a ride called Trip to the Moon. First introduced at the 1901 Pan American Exposition, this fantasy ride whisked visitors away on a fictional airship journey, allowing them to stroll across whimsical lunar terrain and interact with invented moon inhabitants. But Luna Park wasn't just a collection of clever amusements. It was a cultural icon. Its opening day drew more than 90,000 attendees, quickly cementing its status as a must-see destination. In a society bound by rigid conventions, Luna Park offered liberation, thrill, imagination, and an inclusive urban playground like no other. Tragically, even a place built on fantasy couldn't escape reality. In 1911, a sweeping fire devastated many of its most recognizable structures. Although the park was reconstructed and resumed operations, it never fully reclaimed its original enchantment. Rising competition from nearby Dreamland and Steeplechase Park, along with evolving public tastes, chipped away at its popularity. The Great Depression dealt a heavy blow to attendance, and a second fire in 1944 sealed its fate. The park shut down permanently, and its once iconic silhouette was harassed, dismantled, or burned away. The Luna Park that stands today at Coney Island is fun and modern, but it's a different place entirely. The spellbinding design and show-stopping atmosphere of the 1903 Luna Park have vanished. What once stood as a beacon of futuristic amusement now survives only in black and white photographs, aging postcards, and cherished family tales.
Thanks for watching. Like, comments, and share.